Good morning.
It is.
Yes, it is. I spoke with you last when you were in Tucson, and I was facing a challenge with the possibility of cancer. And after talking with you and reading and studying, the definitive testing came back, despite the very dire consequences then. I don't have anything. I'm very healthy. I'm doing fine. Yes.
As it should be.
As it should be. I have two areas that I want to talk about, one being asthma, the second one being relationship. The asthma showed up in about 96. I've learned not to call it my asthma, it is the asthma. I'm in process of working, doing physical exercising and so forth. I appear to be getting beyond it, and I need more thought patterns, guidance, ideas on how to continue to progress and leave the asthma behind.
You know, it's an interesting thing that these things that you want to talk about are all very interrelated.
I felt they were.
The most tactile relationship that humans have to source energy is through breathing. And what happens with so many of our physical friends is that without even knowing it, you pinch yourself off little by little from the energy of your source by worrying about this and worrying about this and by worrying about this. And in the process of that little by little sort of erosion of that connection, your physical experience can become diminished. Now, physicians are beginning to discover that the relationship that you have with well-being is closely related to what they are now calling exercise. But we would say to you that while it seems to be closely related to exercise, what it's really closely related to is breathing. And the reason that breathing is so advantageous to your physical well-being is because it aerates the cells of your body. In other words, the more you deliberately breathe, the more the blood within your body and the water within your body and the electricity within your body are able to move about with less restriction. And so the reason that exercise seems to have provable results, positive results, is because when you move your body demands more breathing. And really, it is easier to ask more breathing of your body when you are exercising than it is to sit in a chair and ask more breathing of your body. In other words, most of you would find if we said, all right, we're going to exercise, bring the air in and do not exhale, and bring the air in and do not exhale, and bring the air in and do not... Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Don't let it out. Bring more in. We know it feels like there's not room for more, but there is. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. If we were to carry on like that for a little while, you would say, that's some of the hardest work I've ever done. This breathing stuff is not as easy as it is cracked up to be. Or some will say, oh, it's as easy as breathing. And we say, the body demands the breath. The cells of your body are asking for the breath. And so sometimes what happens is there's a little confusion about what breathing is. You say, well, breathing is something that is involuntary. It is just something that I do. And we say, well, let it be something that you do more deliberately. Put yourself in situations where you don't have to ask your body to breathe, but that the cells of your body are asking. And so what happens is if you let the very extremities of cells do the requesting, it's easier than you doing the conscious requesting. Can you feel the difference between pulling a noodle and trying to push a noodle? Well, when you deliberately breathe, it's like pushing a noodle, where when you take a walk or when you jog a little or when you do something that requires some effort, it's like the cells of your body do the asking, and then it comes more easily, and everything flows better under those conditions. That's the action thing that we would do. The next thing that we would do, and you've already begun this, is in your diminishment of my asthma. But we wouldn't even call it the asthma. We wouldn't even call it asthma. We wouldn't give it a label that talks of malady. We would just start referring to breath, breathing, life. You are so connected, mind, body, and spirit. The other night, Esther and Jerry were deliberately not watching television. And so Esther had ordered some videos of Dean Martin roasts that she remembered from the past were quite funny. So before they went to bed, they watched a Dean Martin roast. And in Esther's sleep, she had a dream. It was very unsettling to her. Two lovely women dressed in beautiful flowing clothes, running down a grassy hill. Their scarves and garments flowing behind them, just like in the pictures. Beautiful girls. And then one of them began slowing and slowing and slowing. It was obvious that she was having a very hard time. And she literally dragged herself down this hill. And then she got into a contraption and deliberately drowned herself. And Esther didn't try to stop her because there was something about the contraption that was known to be a drowning machine. And so Esther just watched the bubbles come up and thought how sad that is that this person would drown themselves. And then Esther awakened from her dream. Jerry was already up, and the motor coach that they are living in was still all closed. The curtains and windows were closed. And Esther awakened, and she could not catch her breath. She could not breathe. She felt claustrophobic. Jerry opened the windows and opened the doors and turned on the fans and tried to get air moving through. And as Esther sat and settled down, in a little while she began to breathe again. And it was amazing to her how unsettling this was. Esther remembered then that she'd been watching these videos where she said, "Is that one still alive? Is that one still alive? Oh, look how young she is in that. Oh, look how young she is there." Esther had been watching this parade of what she saw diminishing life. Dreams are manifestations too, you know. What you think and what you feel and what manifests are always a vibrational match. And what you think and what you feel and what you dream is a manifestational match also. So the point that we're wanting to make with you is that your feeling of breathing, while it certainly can be affected by outside circumstances, is as much about mind as anything. And so as you put some distance between you and words such as my asthma or my breathing restrictions, and instead you just begin saying things such as, whatever I need is always there for me, and I am in continuing health. And they keep coming up with new ideas of things that I might focus upon to feel diminishment in health, but then I keep turning out to be healthy anyway. In other words, health is my natural state of being, and while I can sometimes, because of what I'm worrying about or what I'm thinking about, offer a vibration that does not allow the rampage of health that would be there otherwise, every physical condition is just a decision away. It's just a breath away, but a decision away is a better way of saying it for you. It's just a decision away, you see. It was really interesting to Esther to have an experience where she could not catch her breath, and there was no reason for it. There was no logical reason for it. There was no shortage of air. No one had a pillow over her face. She was not drowning. It was psychological. In other words, it was a feeling of restriction that manifested in something that was a visceral, very real feeling, you see. And so sometimes we know when people say, well, the illness is psychosomatic or it's all in your head, it is a little uncomfortable because you want to justify where you stand by saying, no, it isn't all in my head. I have this symptom and this symptom and this symptom. I want to escalate my justification for my label. And we say, no, you don't. You want to de-emphasize any justification for a label because every illness is psychosomatic. Every illness is a direct response to a vibration that you are maintaining every single time. So as you diffuse it by saying it isn't anything, in time, it isn't anything. It was easy for Esther to, once she realized that the reason she couldn't breathe was because of the thoughts that she'd been having and the dream that ensued. It was easy once she made that association. And so it's less easy for you to make the association, but it is exactly the same kind of thing. Somewhere along the trail, you've picked up some association that is causing that to be. It isn't physical, it isn't mental, it's consciousness. Consciousness meaning focus. It's things that you're thinking about, you see. You don't have to get to the bottom of it. You don't have to figure out what thoughts are directly related to it. You just have to say, it's not about what I thought it was about, and I can breathe easy. And you can. You can.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.